Italians are much more expressive in their body language and communication as far as my experience, and I think it's just cultural.
It's a cultural thing. There's not a specific reason. We're like a specific, I mean, it's a stereotype where the Italians use their body language, hands all the time to communicate. So it's part of the communication actually. It goes along with the language.
If I'm with my Italian friends, I'll move a lot more. My movements become much more exaggerated. I feel like if I'm like with American friends, I tone it down a little bit.
I can see definitely more the Italians being more expressive with their body language and hands in general, hands gesture, than Americans. Americans are as well, but less.
Using body language to communicate with a non-English speaker, there's a lot of charades that go on in my day-to-day, especially with like doctors, with my baby. I have a 15-month-old son, and so there's a lot of gesturing. I don't know if it's like cultural gesturing, but definitely like this area hurts, or I find myself acting out like 2 words, 1 syllable, kind of like charade. I think body language can set the tone in a conversation in a very important way, as far as expressing like underlying tones of anger or sadness or happiness.
I think it's very important, kind of like facial expressions are important. I think it adds to the conversation, it makes it more personal, I guess. And I think it's just a vital part of it. You can't really, it's kind of like if like texting doesn't involve like your facial expressions, it's just kind of like you don't use your body movements. So I find it important.
But body language is a kind of like a support to the communication when I can't really express myself with the language. And I have many experiences with that, especially with American students. Sometimes I don't know like some of the English words, how to say something or something else. And that's when I support myself, my communication with body language.
Ever accidentally hit someone while talking?
Yes, I did. Sometimes when we talk with friends, and I talk with friends, of course it depends who you talk to, right? If you talk with professionally, like you try to use your hands and your body language less, but if you're with friends, you're like very like, oh, look at that, yeah, that could be like, like something like this. So you use your hands all the time.
When I was younger, I like smacked someone because I was moving too much. So I think from then on, I decided that I had to tone it down because people just weren't used to the motion, so they stood too close to me.
Do you think it's possible for two people to have a conversation without speaking to one another? So just body language?
Yes. Italians are really good at that. We can communicate without speaking, and that's why even when we're far away from each other, we don't need telephone, we don't need anything, we just signs.
Can we try?
Let's do it simple. Yes, why not?